Alright, today's video is about multiplying real numbers. And multiplying, when you multiply, you are talking about the product. So I'll be using the term product. And the product is your answer. So the product is the answer to multiplication. Let me change the pen color because this blue is just not showing up nicely. We'll go with red. Alright, so when I multiply real numbers, if I am multiplying a bunch of real numbers and there are an even number of real numbers that have the same sign, then my answer is going to be positive. So the product of an even number of real numbers, and I missed this little important thing, of the same sign. Of the same sign. My answer will be positive. So for example, if I'm multiplying -4 times -4, my answer is positive 16. I'm multiplying two negative numbers, and 2 is an even number. So same deal as if I was multiplying -1 times 3 times -2. And if I look at this, I've got -1 times 3 is -3. -3 times -2 is positive 6. On the other side, if I am multiplying numbers with an odd number of real numbers, hold on, the product of an odd number of real numbers of the same sign. That's very confusing. My answer is negative. So, for example, if I'm doing -1 times +2, well, there's an odd number of negatives, so my answer will be negative. It'll be -2. If I am multiplying -4 times -3 times -2, my answer will be positive 12 is -4 times -3 times -2 is -24. So pretty much an even number of negatives or an even number of negatives will give you a positive. An odd number of negatives will give you a negative. The other thing that we are interested in for multiplication is the properties of multiplication, and these are a lot like the properties of addition that we learned just last week. So the properties of multiplication are the commutative property, and basically that says it doesn't matter which way I multiply numbers. A times B equals B times A. Or I could say like 2 times 3 is really the same as 3 times 2. Doesn't matter the order. The associative property, same dealio. Let me erase that. A times B times C is really the same as A times B times C. Doesn't matter the order with which we multiply numbers. The identity property is if I multiply a number by 1, my answer is that number. So A times 1 equals A. 6 times 1 equals 6. The property of 0, and that's the product of any number and 0 is 0. So 7 times 0 equals 0. B times 0 equals 0. So anything 0 times is 0. And then the last one is a property of -1, which tells us that if I multiply any number by -1, I get its opposite. That gives me -A. And that little equal sign looks like a Z. So if I multiply 3 times -1, I get -3. If I multiply -2 times -1, I get the opposite of -2, and the opposite of -2 is +2. And look, that brings us back to two negatives make a positive. So those are the properties of multiplication, and also the rules of multiplication. And that is all that I have for you for tonight, and you will be working on this when you come in class tomorrow. See ya.